On Gathering of the Crows, we discuss subject matters that may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone considers my story to be true crime. But this book is a work of and therefore is a memoir, and not an outsider's investigation of my life or crime. The feelings and emotions invoked are accurate. While some of my childhood memories have faded, these particular events remain vivid. To fill many gaps, I've relied on other people's answers to my questions. The typical disclaimers apply. Some names and other details have been changed or omitted to protect the privacy of individuals. Any resemblance between a fictionalized name and a real person is strictly coincidental. Where there are passages containing dialogue, quotations are used when I'm reasonably sure that the speaker's words are close to verbatim or that the speaker's actual meaning is accurately reflected. The story I share here is true to my memory, and these memories have shaped my perceptions, many of which are also shared here. This is how it was for me, what I experienced or believe I experienced.
I mean, I used to always think that maybe she's a little overprotective. And so if I had to say one word about her, it would be overprotective.
But you knew you could walk.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever say to her, "Mother, I can walk. Why am I in this wheelchair?"
No, sir, I never asked that.
When she wasn't around, did you get up and walk secretly?
I did, yes, sir.
Did she ever catch you walking?
She did a couple times.
And what did she say or do?
She got so upset with me, she would punish me so bad. Like, she started hitting me with a coat hanger and telling me all kinds of mean things. She would tell me that she wished she had an abortion when she had the chance, that I ruined her life.
The warm light, my scars are less jarring than I found them to be in the past. Or maybe time is softening the marks on my body. But sometimes, it's what is not visible that hurts us most. For me, that's true. For all the trauma inflicted on my body since childhood, it's the scar that isn't there that always travels with me. The scar that otherwise would have been there if I hadn't asked Nick to kill my mother. People really want to know, what was the final straw? When was the moment when I decided it was her or me? Here you go, y'all, on page 3. 1 month before the murder, my mother tried to cut my throat. At least, that's how I saw it. The cause of concern, suddenly, was my voice. It's so high-pitched. It's so squeaky. My mother complained to my ear, nose, and throat specialist. I thought my voice was distinct, like my uncommon name. Or maybe it was a family trait to be proud of. We both knew women on my mother's side of the family with similar high-pitched voices. Besides, Nick said my childlike chirp was sexy. So, I didn't understand the issue, and I told my mother so. Never in front of the doctors, of course. I knew better than that. But on the way home, I went on and on, like, well, a squeaky wheel. There's nothing wrong with my voice, I said with a whimper, as she pushed me in my portable wheelchair to the parking lot where our car was parked, outside the hospital in downtown Kansas City.
Way that, people will hopefully want to go buy the book.
I think that, obviously we wanted, and we meaning me and my co-authors, wanted to convey a sense of urgency.
Okay.
Because a lot of people can't put themselves in the mindset of where I was at with the abuse and how desperate I felt. So having a statement like she was going to cut my throat, that statement stands out a lot. And so it transports the readers into my mind and emotion. And so that's why it was so important to kind of say that and then go into the details of what I meant by that.
Right.
This is actually kind of the first time I've been honest. Besides being honest, my attorneys, even that, I haven't been completely honest with them.
I want to talk about the night of the murder. Tell me in your own words what happened that night.
Well, really, my mother and I had got into an argument 2 days before. And it was about my feeding tube. I'm like, I no longer need this feeding tube. Can we please have it removed? And she said no. And I had an upcoming surgery. And I didn't want to have it, so I said, please, tell the doctor I don't need this surgery. I've had it 20 times before. Why do we have to have it again? When we were going to the doctor, she would do all the talking. I'd always have a stuffed animal or a Barbie doll. She'd just tell me, just play with my Barbie doll. I believe there are angels among us, sent down to us from somewhere up above. They come to you and me in our darkest hour.
There's a saying that the truth doesn't change, but lies do. And if that's the case, Gypsy Rose Blanchard is the queen of evolving stories. One version never stays the same. We've caught her in lie after lie, shifting narratives and rewriting her past so many times that it's honestly exhausting keeping track. But today, we're going to do just that. Because we've uncovered some huge contradictions in her book, including one about the infamous shed story that proves she's flat out making things up.
And the thing is, we're not just going to list off lies. We're going to talk about why Gypsy keeps changing her story, the psychology behind pathological lying, self-victimization, and how she uses these evolving lies to control public perception. Because at this point, it's not just misremembering. Gypsy is intentionally constructing the narrative.
So welcome to the Gathering of the Crows, where we call out the truth on the lies behind the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard. Let's dish. So let's start with something basic. Why does Gypsy change her story so much? Because it's not just one thing. She does it with everything. She's changed her education story, her medical history, her father's involvement, how she viewed her mother, and now we've caught her reframing the shed story completely again.
Yes, and if you listen closely, you start to notice patterns. She always adjusts the story to make herself look like more of a victim, or to cover up something she said before that doesn't fit in her current narrative. It's not just a misremembering issue, it's full-blown narrative manipulation.
One of the best examples is her education story. Gypsy has claimed at different times that she only went to pre-K, then she said kindergarten, then second grade. We've seen all of those versions come out of her mouth, but here's the kicker. Her medical records in Springfield mention a home tutor, and we verified that tutor and even found other students who knew Gypsy was being taught. So how does she reconcile that?
She doesn't. She just ignores it and lets people believe she was completely uneducated, locked away, and isolated. And I get it. The I never went to school story plays into the trapped child narrative. But the problem is, we can prove that she got an education. She's not some sheltered, uneducated girl. That's just another way she controls how people see her.
And here's where things get even more interesting. If you go back to 2014, Gypsy told her friend Aaliyah that she had 1Q21.1 microdeletion syndrome and that her symptoms were real. She even admitted that was the reason for all her medical problems. But now she says she's always known she wasn't sick. So which is it? And that's what she said on the stand too. When they asked her, she said, I always knew I wasn't sick. I always knew I could walk. So which one is it, Gyps?
Right, because if she always knew, then why was she telling people before Dee Dee died that her chromosome disorder caused her medical issues? And why didn't she ever tell her dad? Why not tell anyone? These aren't small inconsistencies. They're massive changes to the entire framework of her story.
And that's the thing, like this changing narrative, people seem to chalk it up to like, oh well, trauma victims, things come back in pieces, and you don't have clear memories of everything, and you block shit out and everything. Okay, I get that, I truly do. But the core of the story does not change. It doesn't change from 2014 to 2009. That's not how this goes.
No.
She's not changing things that are trauma related, like telling everybody that, her mother, I'm trying to think of an example. I'm trying to think of exactly what I want to say here. She's not changing things that are that are big alone. You know, yes, she's changed the big things, but she even changes the little tiny details.
Small things.
Like, you know, like we're going to get into the shed, talking about the shed floor. Like, ma'am, we've all seen the freaking crime scene photos. We know that the shed does not look the way you're describing the shed.
Yeah. And my go-to will always be the gun situation. It always goes to that. I don't care who you are. You are not. If you are really, truly in fear of a parent and you picked up a gun to use it on them, you're not going to forget whether that was a BB gun or a real gun. You're not going to forget that.
No, you're not going to forget that. And you're not going to forget that you held a knife to your mother's neck. And you're not going to forget. No. And you're not going to tell it in 15 different stories.
Ways.
Like,
no, it's going to be.
First of all, it was this time. And then it was this time. And then it was that time. And oh, this is when she shamed me to the bed. Oh, wait, no, it's this time. Like, it doesn't keep doing that. Just like her education story. That one really has me. Because even in this book, within paragraphs, she freaking contradicts herself. First she says pre-K, then she says kindergarten, then it's second grade. You know, we've all seen her in uniforms at the age of about second grade. But you know, Christy and Rod, that Christy tried to say that was, she would go and they would pay for the uniforms and these books and all this stuff that Dee Dee said she needed, but she never used any of it, and she just made her wear those clothes so that people would think that she was in school and that she had school pictures done. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
Why would you be spending money on that? That doesn't make any sense.
It's ridiculous. And that's when you know. When it doesn't make sense, you know it can't be true. I mean, seriously, I don't believe her. I don't.
No, I don't believe anything. And the thing is, this is what's so hard for me, is I'm telling you, there is a war inside my head with this case every freaking day, because in one moment I'm like, oh my God, I can see this kid and I can see how she grew up in this fantasy, you know, world with her mother. And I think her mother created that fantasy for her. So to make it, you know, compensate for the horrible reality of her real world, you know, but then you hear her speak about this murder of her mother in such a flippant way. And she's just so villainizing her mom in ways that she doesn't need to do so.
No.
Talking about how many times your mother and father did or did not have sex while they were married has nothing to do with why you murdered your mom.
No.
It's not even your story. That's their story.
Maybe it's her way of, you know, making it okay that dad left because mom wasn't doing this and she wasn't doing that. Even though Rod said she was a very good homemaker and cooker and all the things. Yeah.
I mean, it's like she pulls no punches, man. And she takes all liberties to make Dee Dee look the worst that she can possibly make her look. And she is absolutely absolving of her father and Christy. And it really is mind-boggling to me, because the whole reason that your father was not in your life had little to do with your mother and everything to do with your father and his fucking wife.
Right.
And you're out here just absolving them, acting like they're some great parents to you when they still can't do their job and hold you accountable or tell you when you're being delusional. I don't know if you know this or not, but that's what parents do. We're not our children's friends. We're their guide in life.
Right.
Because we have more experience than they do. Because God entrusted them to us to raise and to help and to shelter and to make into good human beings. Rod, you did none of that.
Nope.
Christy, you did none of that.
Nope.
You know who did? Dee Dee. She tried. No matter what you want to say about her, no matter how many cons you think she ran, no matter what she tried.
She did.
She really tried.
Yep, I do feel she did. I feel she was independent. I feel she did everything she could do to provide for Gypsy. I really feel that. And I feel like that's more than Gypsy could say for herself today. So,
I agree.
you know,
So let's get into the shed story, because this is one of the biggest contradictions we found so far. For years, Gypsy has dramatically exaggerated this part of her story, talking about being locked away, chained up, sleeping with bugs, starving for days, peeing on herself, peeing in buckets, peeing on her mom. But the problem is the evidence completely debunks this.
So in 2015, when this first came out, she said she was chained in the shed for weeks at a time. That was the story. Then over the years, it started to change. Sometimes she was just locked in overnight. Sometimes it was just a storage space where Dee Dee kept her things. But now, in her book, she adds a new claim that the shed had a dirt floor, and that's where she slept. But there's one really big problem with that.
We have crime scene photos. And guess what? The shed did not have a dirt floor.
Right. And that's not even the worst part. The shed had windows. It had a fan for air circulation. There were bug foggers in there, meaning the whole "I slept with bugs crawling on me" thing doesn't even make sense. If she were out there, as long as she claimed, people would have seen her. Somebody would have heard her. I just don't feel it's possible.
So why does she lie about something that is so easily disprovable? The answer is actually pretty simple. It makes her look like more of a victim. The worse her story sounds, the more sympathy she gets. And this plays into something called, holy fuck, I don't even know how to say that, pseudologia fantastica. Pseudologia fantastica. Sounds like something out of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Or compulsive lying. I'm going to look that up real quick. I need to look up and see how that's said. Hold on. I want to know what it is.
Pseudo.
It's fantastica. I've heard of it before. I don't know
It
if I'm
does sound like
pronouncing it
something
wrong.
from fucking Harry Potter. It sounds like a spell.
Theologia. Delogia fantastica. That definitely sounds like something out of a Harry Potter book. So
For sure. As soon as you said it, I was like, that does. It really, really does.
there we have it. Pseudo whatever fantastic. Or compulsive lying. Research shows that when people lie repeatedly, they start to believe their own fabrications.
Exactly. And I think that's what we're seeing right now with Gypsy. She's been telling this story for so long that she actually is believing her own lies at this point. But when we actually fact check her, it all falls apart.
And see, this is the thing. Like, I don't think she even has a concept of how permanent the internet really is. Back when she went into prison, social media was not what it is today.
No.
At all.
No.
The internet wasn't what it is today. It was not as big of a wealth of information as it is now. You could look up things, yeah, for sure. But there was a lot that you still didn't do, And I think that she does not understand how real social media works now. Like, she seems to think that if she deletes something, it's just gone and nobody has it. And that's not how that works.
Nope.
Like, the internet is forever.
Somebody always has it.
Yep. This. Yeah, I think she forgets this. And I do think she believes her own lies at this point. I do. And that's where, if you're looking at it from that point of view, that she is so delusional, that she has some of these, cluster B personality disorders possibly, or even, sociopathic tendencies, and you begin to look at it from a brain that is riddled with illness, you begin to understand where the wild stories come from. Because people who are habitual liars, that's what they do. They lie and they lie and they lie, and the lie gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And they can't stop the lie. It's compulsive.
Yeah.
And I think that's what she does. She's just a compulsive liar. It doesn't, and maybe, I mean, to be honest with you, she says everything when she's interviewed. She looks like she fully believes what she said in that moment.
She lies with such ease that
I just wonder if
I'll
it's
never
just
understand it because we can always catch her and fact check
right.
her. You know what
I
I mean?
know.
But then I feel like, well, why should she really even care when she has people like 60 Minutes Australia paying her top dollar for an
Right.
interview?
Right.
Why should she give a shit what she said?
Why should she give a shit? You know,
You
why
know?
should she care what
She
she
made
makes her
good
mother
money
look
from
like?
that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, scamming in another country. Yeah, she is.
But with
Absolutely.
her and these
Yep.
lies and it's just so frustrating. Like, where did this dirt floor come from? All the fucking sudden, it's a dirt floor now. Like, how?
Right.
It was never.
Does she not
No,
understand the pictures?
were you never in the shed? Like,
Like, what is she saying? Did any of the sheds have a dirt
no,
floor? I doubt it.
they don't
Sheds
come
don't come
that
that way.
I've been in a lot of sheds. I can honestly say I've never seen a shed with a dirt floor. It always has carpet
I
or
mean,
concrete or wood or
or
something.
something.
It's not like you just take a shell and sit it down on the ground
You know, I gotta be honest. I think our shed out back might have one.
like a dome.
It's
Oh,
just, you know, you saw the insides of the other sheds too. They weren't. Nothing had a dirt floor. No. Mm-mm. She just tries to make it sound as bad as she can.
yeah, I can't with it. And the timeline in this story, and in this story, her timeline changes again. It's now a different timeline than when it happened before, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a new story as to what caused it. It's just, it's
Oh, I
absurd.
can't.
Like, girl,
I mean,
get
for the
a
love of Pete,
fucking
I have to have
spreadsheet,
a freaking
please.
notebook
Like, come on now.
just to keep up with it. Like, I'm not even kidding. She don't even
I've
give a
got
shit.
10.
She just
Like,
be like, you know, today I think I'm just gonna say this.
I can't either.
Whatever. And then I'm gonna go play la 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 and shop and put my makeup
Yeah,
on and show you no filter. La 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 la. Like she does not give a shit. She don't care.
whatever comes out of her mouth at the moment.
Mm-mm. I don't get it. Who pays them? Who pays them?
No.
I want to know.
It's insane
Because you're
to me.
not doing
I
your job.
totally don't understand it. Like, and I don't understand how these journalists can even call themselves journalists when they do absolutely no journalism work whatsoever.
Oh yeah, they're gonna ask her the tough questions. Nobody does.
I don't know. But that's what I said in the interview today about the Australian 60 Minutes. You know, I was like, well, I don't know what people expected it to be. It is mainstream media. It's 60 Minutes, whether it's in Australia or it's here. Um, you know, and here's the thing. Do you know why they don't ask any questions that are hard hitting? Because they're not allowed
Mm-hmm.
to. They're given a file and questions, and that's what they're supposed to do. That's it. They don't have any
Give a little
deviation from
pushback.
this. They don't
Just a
have
little.
additional information. They have whatever's in that little file that's provided to them as a backstory and whatever questions and the fodder that she fucking fills them with. So, you know, it just
Yeah.
I just want one journalist, just one journalist to be like, give
So
one question of a pushback. Like, hey, honey, I know you're saying that, and that makes sense to me. I totally understand that. But do you remember that a couple months ago you said, you know, this? And that seemed pretty plausible too. So which is it? Because they're vastly different, dear. You know, like, I don't understand why they can't just ask her that question.
will they lose their job if they go off of anything they're supposed to be, you know?
I mean, I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think that's, you
I
know,
don't know if I
media
can
is,
be down with that.
there
I
is
don't know
no
if I can
truth
do
in
that.
journalism anymore. There's no ethics in journalism anymore. There's none of that. That's been killed. It's been gone for a very, very, very long time. And
Where's
we saw it
Geraldo?
through,
Geraldo would ask the tough questions.
I know, where's Sally Jesse or
Yeah.
any of them, you know, like, Jesus, where's
Take
Maury
a
Povich
dive,
when you need
girl.
him?
Let's really see what's going on.
I know. I just, ugh.
Never gonna
But anyway,
happen.
another thing we need to talk about is Gypsy's Infantilization Act. She keeps trying to paint this picture that Dee Dee forced her to stay a baby. But let's be real, Gypsy was actively participating. She was drinking from baby bottles, wearing costumes, and calling grown men daddy online, even Rod.
And that's not even speculation. That is documented. The baby bottles, that was her comfort item. And I was forced to act younger. Excuse falls apart when we look at how she continued doing it voluntarily, even when she was with Nick.
Right. If she was really medically abused, why didn't she sue?
Mm-hmm.
She let the statute of limitations run out and then claimed no lawyer would take the case. That's a lie. I personally know a lawyer who wanted to take it.
Mm-hmm. And the real reason I feel she didn't sue is because if they dug into her medical records, they'd find out the truth. That she was really sick. And that would shatter her entire narrative.
It would. And I think that's why the Louisiana records have been so closely guarded.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been so many stories about them, in the fact that, Christy told me that there was a hold that Dee Dee put on them in so that they couldn't be unsealed, so that they couldn't,
right.
So the doctors couldn't even request them.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true. She tried to say that, they tried to say that they could never get the records from the Bayou doctor that saw the entire family, the pediatrician that sees all the kids in the family, including the Petrie side and the Blanchard side, Dr. Petrie, which I am going to assume somewhere down the line that's a related name.
Yeah.
And
if it's spelled the same, it seems to
it's
be
spelled the same. It's spelled the same and in the same area. I mean, they have to be related down
Probably,
the line somewhere,
yeah.
I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Especially knowing what we know about this community, So, but she couldn't get me those ever, except that Patty, Mike Stanfield's legal assistant, confirmed that they did have those records. And we never got to see Dr. Beckerman's records from Louisiana either. And he would know that they weren't lost.
Right.
Like, he would know his own records were not lost. And so I am really at a point where I believe 99% of what Dee Dee says, and like no percent of what Gypsy has said.
Oh, I know.
I truly do believe, honestly, in my heart, I think she had cancer at 5.
I think she did
I think
too.
she
I
had
don't know if that's
leukemia.
something, a bone marrow transplant is very significant, and it's very painful. And I don't think Melissa, she said it a couple of times, so I'm thinking she saw it somewhere.
Yeah, I've heard that they're trying to say that what she saw was like a muscle or a bone marrow testing before they actually like do the bone marrow transplant. But I have never seen that either. So I don't know what anyone's talking about, but she was very clear. She said bone marrow transplant twice.
Clearly said it.
And she's very, and you know what? It makes sense with her medical records, what's in it later. It does describe that specific type of leukemia, that specific childhood leukemia. The specific actual treatment would be a round of, first they would do the bone marrow transplant, and then they follow it up with a round of chemo pills.
Right.
And that's exactly what Gypsy told me when I confronted her about, Gypsy, you had to know you didn't have cancer because you didn't go to chemo. And she told me, no, my mom gave me the pills and told me they were my chemo pills. I'm beginning to think that's the truth. I think that did happen.
There are
and now,
yes, there is pills.
Right, there is a pill form. I didn't know that back then. But now they're even trying to say that that's when Dee Dee had cancer, was when Gypsy was 5 years old. And I don't think so at all. I don't think she had that until she was in Louisiana or in Missouri. I'm sorry. I need to see when the hysterectomy is, because if you guys are saying she had it when Gypsy was 5, that's not the story we've been told before. So when did she have this cancer? I believe it was between 2011 and 2012. And I think that's part of the psychological break that Gypsy experienced, is going through the fact that she thought her mother was going to die. So she was like, all right, I'll stick it out. And then found out that her mother wasn't going to die. And she's like, oh, no, she's got to
or
go.
wasn't dying fast enough for her.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Oh, no, she's got to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the thing. And it's upsetting to me because we've seen so many discrepancies with what she says about her medical history and what is actually in her medical history. And this sorry sack of shit job she tried to do the other day of going through the rarechromo.org pamphlet that I have been putting out there for everyone all over the place forever was just pathetic and pitiful. And it just further proved to me that we're right about all of it.
Yeah.
Because Gypsy only comes out and does shit like that when she knows she's in trouble. They don't come out and do that shit unless they've been caught in something.
Right. Unless they're trying to save face.
They're trying to save face. They're trying to skirt the narrative again. They're trying to, that's how, they denied the 1Q forever. And then when they finally did come out with it, what do they come out with? Gypsy sits there and she's like, okay, so yes, I do have it, but I don't have any of the symptoms
of it.
It's 75% of people don't have symptoms, and I'm in that 75%. First of all, it's not a statistic.
That's not true.
That's not a truthful statistic at all. And beyond that, no, honey, we can see that you have problems. It's on your face.
Take it serious, man. I don't get it. You got to take it serious. You're a grown-ass woman now. You're a mama now. You got to take it serious.
Not only just for Aurora's health, but for your own.
For sure.
Like, you want to be there for your child for the rest of her life, not for, 10 years and mom dies because she didn't take care of herself.
Aurora has it, and I'm not saying she does, but if she does, and she could keep passing it, like, do you really want to do this? Keep doing this to kids? Like,
right.
What?
Well, and then she's like, oh, well, if we decide we're going to have more, then we'll consider in vitro or whatever, where we can pick our, we can create the DNA specifically so it won't have that. Dude, what are you talking about?
My God.
What are you even talking about?
Good Lord.
Is eugenics. For everyone who thinks that I'm obsessed with eugenics, that, my friends, is actual eugenics.
Like, listen.
Not what I say.
Your mother told you should not spawn. Stop spawning. Seriously. Don't have any more kids. Don't do it. Don't do it. Especially if little Aurora has got this now.
Right. If she has it, please don't have any more children. Just focus on your child.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, I don't understand. And you're already in your late 30s, which means you're already high risk to begin with. Then on top of that, you've got your 1Q21 microdeletion. On top of that, you've got your mental health problems and your other issues and your numbness in your legs and this and that.
Yeah.
She's in denial. And I think the denial is kind of what bothers me the most about all of this.
Yes.
Because it clearly shows that the people around her don't give an absolute fuck about her at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they did care about her, they would not allow her to continue on with these delusions. Mm-hmm. They would tell her, no, Gypsy, you're sick. You have these problems. I know that your mom maybe, embellished them a little bit to get charity things and things like that. Maybe she did, but honey, you're sick. Mm-hmm. And you need to take care of yourself, and you need to take care of Aurora, and you need to make sure that you give her everything she needs. And we monitor her closely, because this is a real thing and it's extremely dangerous. And if you continue to have children, the likelihood that one comes out and has a horrible condition, it may not even make it to, a couple days past birth. What life are they going to have? What are you going to do then?
Right. And what if they have a worse form of it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I would want to take that risk. And there is always adoption. I mean, I doubt it. I mean,
she wouldn't have been able to adopt. That's the thing.
They ain't gonna let somebody that freaking.
No, she would have had to do a surrogacy or a private adoption with someone, like through their church or something. But
I don't know. You really messed up a lot of shit by killing your mom. Just saying.
and it kills me that she makes these statements about how it's not lost on her own mother isn't here, or her mother would she knows her mother can't hold the baby and it's sad. And why is that, Gypsy? Why
What?
is that?
When did she
Why?
say that?
Yeah, she's sad about that. It makes her sad to know that
When
her
was
mother
that? I haven't
never
heard
Laura.
that one yet.
Oh, I think she said that one on the Vile Files, maybe. I don't remember. I just know I heard a clip of it.
Okay.
And it's like, I'm like, but Gypsy, first of all, why is she not here? Because you made her not be here. And beyond that, if your mother is as bad as you have claimed and said, and that she did all these horrible things, why would you even allow her to be around your child if she was alive?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Makes sense. It doesn't. A lot of it does not make sense. It just doesn't.
It doesn't.
And she doesn't care because people are going to pay her whether she tells the truth or whether she lies.
Right.
So why give a shit? Why do I care?
What do I care? Right.
Do I got money in my pocket? I sure as shit do.
I think she has fun with it. I think it's a thrill. I think it's a let me see what I can say today, and will they believe this shit or not?
I mean, I don't even know. I might get to that point myself. I was somebody in that position, like, wow, they really just take everything I say and do, because I will say there is definitely there is bullying going on concerning her. I do believe people are bullying her.
I agree.
But
I mean, at what point is it?
Go ahead.
Girl, like, seriously. Okay, look. The bullying thing, it's a double-edged sword in this case.
It is.
Okay? Because, like, look, she's a murderer. She murdered her mother. And anyone who wants to call that out can, will, and should.
Right.
Okay? But the other stuff, the making her into a possum and making Aurora into a possum, which I have massive problem with. Massive. That is a baby. That baby did not ask to be born. That baby has not done a damn thing. And yes, maybe she'll grow up to be just like Gypsy, but maybe she won't. But making her look like a possum, do you understand that, again, the internet is forever? And at some point in time...
I know. She could look that up someday and be like, wow, okay, this is what they were doing to me.
At some point in time, Aurora's going to see all of it. And that's horrible.
You don't think it's going to be hard enough for her to have to go to school and deal with the meanness?
Right.
Because it's going to happen. And I don't wish that for her. Not at all. I'm scared of that for her. I know how mean people are.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe they could do some kind of home thing with her. I don't know. I don't know.
That's the only thing I could think of. Homeschool.
I don't know,
but that is with other people. Because she doesn't, unlike Gypsy had a large family. Okay, so she's not in school, but she had a large family. It's not like she wasn't socialized. She was socialized with her cousins, her neighbors, her friends. And the isolation bullshit that she screams from the top of the hills didn't happen the way she says it happened. She was there all the time. She had birthday parties. She had friends. There's pictures and pictures and pictures and pictures of her being surrounded and interacting with tons and tons of freaking kids and people all day long. And she wants to cry. I was so fucking isolated.
I'm going to tell you, I've not seen one picture where Gypsy is crying.
No, or looks unhappy, or
bruised, or
like she's forced to be there, or forced that she's doing it. No, none of it. No, none of it. And she's gallivanting across the world on boats with her mom,
kissing her mom, holding her mom's hand, arm in arm with her mom. Singing on stage to her mom. Like, seriously?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and when you do talk, I mean, listen, I doubt it. She can't be honest about it with anybody. But if there is one person, she should be honest with, it would be my daughter. I would definitely be honest with her.
Yeah. But I don't
There's
think
no
she
way
will.
I would,
I don't think she will.
but that's just me.
I don't think she
Oh
will.
no, she won't. I know she won't.
I know she won't. I just know she won't. She won't be honest because she doesn't know
And
how to.
that would show change for her to say,
Because
I'm going to tell you the truth because I don't want you to think what I did was okay.
right. And
You know, it wasn't okay. It was not okay what I did.
right. And I don't think she can be that honest with herself.
Mm-mm.
I truly believe
She doesn't even tell herself that.
No, I honestly
She
believe
keeps
the lies
justifying.
are her coping mechanism.
She keeps justifying it.
And the lies are what keep her to the level of sane, if you can even say she's sane, that she is. Because I think it's her protection. She cannot admit to herself that she was sick, that she was wrong, and that she killed her mother for nothing more than money, drugs, and boys.
It's like an addict or an alcoholic that
Yes.
just doesn't want to admit it. Like, no,
Right.
no.
I think it's her
fine.
brain protecting
No.
her from it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And that's where these type of mental health situations come into play with her, that if they're not getting treated, if they're not being looked at and monitored, it's a bad thing,
Right.
These are not things that you just grow out of, or you just get better. No. And you have to do active learning as to what it is that you need to do to try and heal, if you can at all.
Right.
And I wish she.
Well, it's a daily thing, like I said, even with myself, there's things I have to work on every single day.
Yep.
I just do. And I wouldn't be okay if I didn't.
Right.
Saying it's important, you have to make yourself a priority. You have to.
Right. And she's in this denial phase, and I just don't. I don't know. I don't know.
You have to hold yourself accountable. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
right.
Now, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. If I don't want to do something, I'll say I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? But I hold myself accountable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sure. Where, I don't know. I don't know if it comes with age. I don't know if it comes with working on yourself. I don't know. But she's got so much to do, man.
Right. So at this point, we've caught Gypsy lying about everything, from her education to where she slept. So why are people still blindly believing her?
Because she's so good at playing the victim. And it's very difficult for people to question a little girl claiming abuse on every level. But the truth doesn't change. And we're here to expose the lies.
She was. And that's the thing, I mean, we talked about this early on last year, the demographics thing that Ryan brought up. She's collecting demographics. I'm in the LGBTQ. I'm in the abused mom. I'm in the deadbeat dad. I've got micro deletion. I'm in the, I was Munchausen by proxy. I'm a narcotic. I'm an addict. I'm like every single demographic you could possibly pick up to feel sympathy for a person. She made that.
She would be in the dictionary under victim of everything and victim of nothing.
Exactly. She's her own perpetual victim.
Yep.
So thanks for tuning in and dishing true crime with the Good Wives. Join us on our Patreon for exclusive breakdowns. Leave your thoughts in the comments and get ready for next week's episodes, where we break down another massive contradiction in Gypsy's story. Follow us on all social media at GoodWivesNet and on TikTok at GoodWivesNet2. We're now on Buy Me a Coffee, Rumble, Twitch, Spreaker, and more. You can find the Gathering of the Crows podcast on all major podcast platforms. Have a good one from the Good Wives, serving up true crime, one dish at a time. Bye, guys.